learning English doesn't have to feel like hard work. When you enjoy a good story, your brain learns naturally. You remember words, grammar, and expressions without effort. That's why we bring you daily English stories, fun, easy, and great for listening practice. So, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell so you get tomorrow's story too. It was one of those days when nothing was planned but everything felt right. Tom had wandered through narrow streets, past small cafes and quiet bookstores, and now he found himself in the center of Krakow's old town. The square was wide and bright, full of energy but still peaceful in its own way. He walked slowly, looking at the old buildings around him. The walls were tall and covered with little marks of history, chipped paint, dark wooden doors, and windows that had seen hundreds of years go by. There was music in the distance, soft and live, maybe from a violin or a guitar. The air smelled like baked bread and something sweet. In one corner of the square, a group of stone steps led up to the edge of a church. The steps were wide and cool, perfect for sitting. Tom dropped his backpack to the side, sat down, and leaned back slightly with his arms behind him. From there, he could see almost everything. People moved around like stories in motion. There was a woman feeding pigeons, dropping little pieces of bread while the birds gathered around her feet. A group of tourists walked by with cameras hanging from their necks, their heads turning left and right as they listened to a guide holding a small flag. Closer to the fountain, a boy ran in circles, laughing, while his father tried to keep up. A young couple stood near a cafe, sharing something from a paper bag. They looked happy and light, as if they had all the time in the world. Tom watched them without staring. He just took in the moments, one after another, like watching waves on a quiet sea. Behind him, the stone of the church felt solid and cool. The steps had been there for hundreds of years, maybe more. He wondered how many people had sat right where he was now. Travelers, workers, lovers, dreamers. Maybe someone just like him, with no real plan but a heart full of curiosity. A small wind passed through the square. It moved the leaves of nearby trees and played with the scarves of older women sitting on a bench. One of them was knitting. The other one just watched the sky. Tom smiled to himself. There was something very special about just sitting and watching, doing nothing, but feeling everything. As time passed, the square changed. New people arrived, others left. A man on a bicycle passed with a small basket of flowers. A group of school children walked in a line, laughing and pointing at the statues around the square. A street artist started painting on a piece of canvas near the fountain. The painting showed the square itself, but with golden skies and brighter colors than real life. Tom didn't take out his phone. He didn't take pictures or write notes. He didn't check the time. He just watched. Every detail around him felt like part of a painting that was alive. He saw the way people held their coffee cups, the way birds flew in small groups and returned to the same spot, the way sunlight hit the glass windows and reflected in strange, beautiful patterns. After a while, something changed in him. He noticed that his thoughts were not rushing like usual. He wasn't thinking about where to go next or what to do. He wasn't worried about missing something or being in the wrong place. He felt completely present. The stone steps under him were strong and smooth from many years of footsteps. He moved his hand across them slowly. They felt real, older than him, older than his country maybe, and still here. He liked that feeling. It reminded him that some things stay, even when everything else changes. Suddenly, the square grew louder. A group of performers arrived near the center. They wore colorful clothes and carried large drums. People started gathering in a circle around them. Some took out their phones. Some clapped. The drummers began to play, first slow, then faster. The rhythm filled the square like a heartbeat. Tom stayed on the steps, watching the show from a distance. He liked the view from where he sat. It gave him the full picture: the performers, the crowd, the kids trying to dance, the shopkeepers stepping outside to listen. He watched it all like a quiet observer, not part of the moment, but somehow inside it too. When the performance ended, the square returned to its slower pace. The crowd broke apart, people wandered in different directions, and silence returned like a soft blanket. The sun moved across the sky, casting longer shadows now. Still, Tom didn't move. He noticed how the pigeons came back again. They seemed to belong there, walking around with small, quick steps, always searching for crumbs. A man dropped a few on purpose. The pigeons raced to them. One almost flew into the air, but then stayed grounded, maybe too lazy to flap its wings. Tom leaned back more, resting his head against the wall. He felt peaceful. He had no special reason to be in Krakow. He hadn't come for a job, or a meeting, or even for sightseeing. He had come because he wanted to be somewhere beautiful, somewhere old and full of stories. And now, on those stone steps, he felt like he had found exactly that. He thought about how fast life usually moved. Messages, alarms, schedules, long lists of things to do. But not today. Today was quiet. Today was made of small moments: a smile from a stranger, the smell of coffee, a child's laughter, the sound of stone under his shoes, the light in the window. Tom didn't want to leave. But he knew he couldn't stay forever. He would leave when the time felt right. He would walk through the square one more time, maybe get something sweet from a bakery, maybe follow a street he hadn't noticed yet. And then, maybe, take a tram or just keep walking. But not yet. Not while the sun still painted the buildings in soft colors. Not while the square still whispered its quiet stories. Not while the steps still felt warm from the sun. He sat still, letting the minutes pass like slow-moving clouds. And in that stillness, he found something he hadn't expected: a deep kind of happiness. Not the kind that makes you jump and shout. The kind that fills your chest and makes everything feel just right. By the time he finally stood up, the sky was changing. The blue had turned deeper, and a few soft lights had started to glow in the square. People were lighting candles at the small tables. The music started again, quieter this time, maybe from a violin near a window. Tom picked up his bag and took one last look at the stone steps. He touched them lightly, like saying thank you. Then he walked down slowly, blending into the square, becoming part of its story, just like the many others who had come before him. You did it, you just finished another full English story. And guess what? You learned a lot without even realizing it. You heard natural grammar, everyday expressions, and useful sentence structures. That's the magic of storytelling. Every time you enjoy a story, your English gets stronger. And we do this every single day. So go ahead, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a story. Now tell us in the comments, if you could sit anywhere in the world and watch people, where would it be?